What's up, YouTube? It's Joel here. Time for a stimulus update on those big $1,400 checks, $15 minimum wage, SSDI and SSI eligibility on stimulus checks. So everyone, checks are coming. I'm going to explain and do a full breakdown of dates, why, and timeline for our stimulus checks so you know when to expect money in your bank account. A lot of people are skeptical about things getting passed, saying things like,
"It's never gonna happen, and we're never getting the checks."
to even questions like,
when is it even going to get passed, and are we even going to get some relief?
and I'm going to show you why you should feel a lot better about where we are right now in terms of getting some relief and direct payments really fast versus where we were back in 2020. So let's get right into it. This stimulus package is called the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. This bill, as we all know, is $1.9 trillion. Wow. And this bill just passed one of the biggest milestones that it needed to in order to overcome and get through and get us our checks early this next month. Chuck Schumer said on Friday that we will meet this deadline. Now, the deadline that he is referring to is getting the bill passed by the first week of March so that we can get our checks by this deadline, which is March 8th, for those that have direct deposit. Now, if you don't have that set up, you're going to be getting your stimulus check a week later, but you're still going to get it. So now we need to go over why you shouldn't be so skeptical about when this will be passed. And if you're going to get any stimulus check at all, because you will, and since you're going to be getting some stimulus, you should smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, because it really does help to grow the channel and get videos like this out there to the YouTube world to get more people educated and updated on stimulus and investing. So back in 2020, the House was controlled by the Democrats, and then the Senate was controlled by the Republicans. And the Republicans also controlled the White House. And yes, this sucked big time, because last year, watching them go back and forth and not getting anything done not only hurt just us individually, but it hurt our country as a whole. I mean, it really got to the point where it was sickening seeing so many people were hurting on both sides, couldn't get nothing done, and it literally took them almost 9 months to get more direct payments to people after the initial checks were sent out. And yeah, a lot of people were pretty upset, but things have changed, and so this year in 2021, Democrats control the White House with Biden. They also control They still control the House of Representatives, and the Democrats also have taken control over the Senate. Literally, we had a blue wave in terms of politics just sweep across the U.S. for the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the White House. So now with the Democrats controlling all three branches of government, they literally have the votes and the power to make things happen without dealing with the Republicans and what they're wanting in their agenda. Now, granted, there are things that the Republicans can do to put the brakes on some of the Democrats' wants in terms of spending and policies. They can even do something called a filibuster, which basically keeps whatever bill that is trying to be passed from even getting on the Senate floor to be voted on. So then you're probably thinking like, dang, then what? But there are other things that the Democrats can do, like budget reconciliation. So basically, each year there's a certain amount of money that Congress spends in terms of how much money it takes in and dealing with the debt limit. Well, this process allows Congress to make changes to this budget and get things passed with only doing a simple majority vote in the Senate. So basically, instead of having to have 60 votes to pass a bill, they only need 51. And as you all know, we're living in the U.S. where it's literally split almost 50-50 between Democrats and Republicans. So it's a lot easier to pass something when you only need 51 votes versus 60. Because if they needed 60, they would have to convince some of the Republicans to come over to the Democrat side, which rarely happens. So since there's only 100 seats in the Senate and it's 50-50 right now, that's where Vice President Kamala Harris comes in as the tiebreaker, and you all know how she's going to vote. Democrat, stimulus, voting for Biden's plan. So as you can see here, why you should feel a lot better about getting your checks, getting more relief in terms of funding from the federal government for SNAP, WIC, SSDI, SSI, and a whole lot more. Because I'm telling you, this is a pretty big bill, $1.9 trillion. They got a lot of stuff in there that is not only going to take care of us right now, but is going to provide a lot more relief for the next 3 to 4 years. And so the big thing that happened back on Friday was they finally have a bill that's made that's over 500 pages. I've actually gone through all of it, which was wow. But it did have a ton in there in terms of giving more relief for like the SSDI, SSI, for SNAP, for even increasing the minimum wage, for the $1,400 checks, for state and local governments, just a ton of where, and just designating where this $1.9 trillion is gonna go. So we finally have the bill that they're gonna vote on this week in the House. So the next thing to update you on is that $15 minimum wage increase is actually in this bill that was passed on, that was written up and brought to the House floor on Friday. And so with this $15 minimum wage increase to the federal minimum wage, they are calling this the Labor Matters. And so once this bill is passed, they are increasing the federal minimum wage right now from $7.25 to $9.50 an hour. Then in 1 year later, from the time that the bill is passed, it's gonna go up to $11 per hour. And then 2 years later, from the initial time that it's passed, it's going to go to $12.50. And then another year later, it's going to go to $14 per hour. And then finally, it's going to settle at $15 per hour 4 years after the initial date. So remember, on January 24th, Biden signed an executive order directing the Office of Personnel Management to create recommendations for a minimum wage increase to $15 per hour for federal jobs. So now what we're talking about is that's for federal jobs, and now they're trying to push this countrywide for all businesses to abide by. So now we know that it is actually in the bill, and we're going to see how this plays out in terms of finalization of the bill and then what gets pushed to the Senate. So the next thing we got is SSI and SSDI eligibility. People who receive the SSI and SSDI will once again automatically qualify to receive a third stimulus check, the one that we've been talking about for $1,400, just as they received the other stimulus checks for the first and the second round of payments. So most SSI and SSDI recipients didn't receive their first payments via their direct express card, though this is actually how the government usually uses to distribute the federal benefits, but instead their payments arrived through a non-direct express bank account or a paper check. But they only got that if you didn't have a bank account information on file with the IRS. For the second round of payments though, the IRS said on its website that the SSI and SSDI recipients should have gotten their stimulus check money the same way that they received it the first stimulus checks. But now it's faster because the IRS already had the payment system set up. So for those who received the first round of payments via the direct express card, they should have received the second payment the exact same way, and the IRS said that it's going to be the exact same way for this third check that's going to be coming out in this next month. So if you received the SSI but not Social Security benefits and did not file for taxes in 2019, the IRS will automatically send your payment the same way you normally receive your SSI benefits, such as by direct deposit, the direct express card, or by paper check. So we got a lot of relief coming to people, and checks are definitely coming, y'all. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Thanks for watching, you guys. This is Joel with True Life Investing. Till next time, peace out.